It is October 28th, 2022. Wrestling Inc. podcast, SmackDown, AEW Rampage. I'm Glenn Rubenstein. Alfred, Issa. Alfred,
what up?
First. Are you feeling oozy tonight?
I'm feeling very oozy tonight. I don't know who's not feeling oozy after tonight, but yes, indeed I am.
Oh my God, Issa, how oozy are you this evening?
I'm so oozy. I exploded with ooziness tonight.
So much to discuss, so much to dive into. Man, Rampage was live tonight, and SmackDown still just brought it with that Bloodline promo. I mean, even the return of Emma, more Bray, and
Jay Uso corpsing.
Yes. Oh, bodies everywhere in that ring tonight with the corpsing. We had a visit tonight from Uncle Howdy, which we'll talk about later in the episode.
That's under the mask. I see.
Yes. And so much more to dive into. So, Alfred, before we get into the show, what is going on in the news?
Well, you mentioned Emma returning tonight. Triple H era has seen a lot of returns, and if you're sick of them, don't get sick of them because there are going to be more returns potentially. It looks like Chelsea Green might have signed with WWE and is set to return. Of course, she was part of Triple H's NXT. She did have a couple of injuries while on the main roster briefly, including a wrist injury that she suffered after leaving WWE, but it looks like she's on her way. And the streets are also saying that Zack Ryder might be on his way back. Issa.
Wow.
I don't know Zack Ryder. I know Matt Cardona.
Okay, well, we'll have to change that. He'll have to copyright that if he wants to be that in WWE.
Well,
I'm very happy for Chelsea Green. I think she was I think she had a very bad luck with injuries, and we never really got to see what she can do in WWE. So I'm excited to see her now.
Here's my question, Alfred, as a writer for Forbes. Maybe you can dig into this. What are these deals that they're doing? Are these standard main roster deals? Are they doing hybrids where it's short-term contracts and they could perhaps work some indie dates because Triple H just wants that short-term pop? Maybe they don't have as much of a long-term plan. I'm very curious with these, if they're structuring them any differently, given that these cuts originally happened due to budget trims.
Yeah, that is a very interesting question. I would love to know the answer to that. I would be surprised if they all were short-term contracts. That's not typically what WWE does for the main roster. NXT, yes, but that's the thing. It's a Triple H era. So in NXT, he'd bring in a Jushin Thunder Liger for a short-term one-off, and then he'd go away. And he would do that with some wrestlers, which is not something you always see on the main roster. So as much as it's not very much like WWE to do that, it is like Triple H to do something like that. But with some of the people they brought back, they're people who were part of WWE, so I don't see why it would have to be temporary like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Agreed.
Well, SmackDown can barely even feature the women on the SmackDown roster as is. And I'm glad they're expanding it, and I hope they get more airtime, but what's the long-term plan? You know?
It is a lot of returns. It's great to see, and they're great reactions mostly, and it's cool to see new blood, but at some point you got to start paying some of this stuff off, and they're really starting to kind of have their cup runneth over with all these returns.
Yeah. So I look forward to more. Maybe we will get Tyler Breeze back.
Yeah, that's one thing that keeps you watching, though. That is a good thing about it, is that you never know who's going to show up. So if that keeps happening in terms of SmackDown, people will have a reason to watch.
Yes, and maybe Emelina will go to AEW.
Yeah. 2 contracts. Well, speaking of contracts, Sasha Banks' WWE contract in the story that refuses to die. We've heard that she was released. We heard she wasn't. We heard they returned. We heard that's not necessarily true because she changed her name. The latest from Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter is that there are still hang-ups in negotiations between Sasha Banks and WWE, but it appears as if Sasha Banks, as of this writing, is technically under contract with WWE. Whether or not she'll return is anybody's guess. I did see her at the Wakanda Forever premiere with the New Day. Thought that was great and everything. The Usos were there too. What do you think about Sasha Banks, and when do you think we're going to see her, Issa?
I just want Sasha Banks to be happy. Whatever it is that she does, as long as she's happy, I would love to see her back. I'm not even going to deny that. I was very vocal about maybe not wanting her to go to AEW. I think WWE is a better platform for her. However, depending on how long these negotiations go on for, since there is no PLE in December, I will wait it out to the Rumble. I want Triple H's Royal Rumble to just be like insane and talked about for a while and really feel like WrestleMania season has begun. So if I'm Triple H and I have those big of names like just on my back pocket, I will save them for building up this massive LA WrestleMania coming up.
Yeah, and before we go to Glenn, that's just really quick. That's a good point, Ethan. I was just kind of thinking about this. If Triple H would have waited, a couple more months until the Royal Rumble, he could have filled up an entire Royal Rumble with like all surprise appearances, and most of them would get a pretty big pop from like 2/3 of this Royal Rumble.
They need like 2 more shows to showcase the entire roster they have right now. They have so much talent, and I don't know if they're going to start doing 2 touring productions again, because for a while they were doing that. But if you looked at some of the photos from that, man, when SmackDown was running Monday nights in like high school gymnasiums and rec centers, like some of those shows were pretty sparsely attended. I don't know how they could have been making money.
I'm also okay with not seeing everybody every week. So if your roster is that deep that you can kind of alternate, who shows up this week, because granted, I would love to see Roman Reigns every week on every show, literally, not just Raw and SmackDown, everything that I watch, I want to see Roman Reigns be a part of. I feel like him not being there every week does make his appearances feel more special. So you can probably do something like that, and kind of protect some of these returns.
I mean, SmackDown is pretty darn repetitive week in and week out.
Yeah, I'd say that about WWE TV in general, in terms of, but I do think it has been better, where there's not as much wackiness, and then the surprises do help, and it does feel fresh. Well, we go from Sasha Banks' fallout with WWE to another CM Punk in this AEW buyout. Apparently, this investigation has been wrapped up because the Elite is on their way back, and the latest out of CM Punk versus AEW is that some of the top AEW stars are now saying that they refuse to work with CM Punk. It's not likely he's going to be back with AEW, but we still don't know that for a fact. But this is something I touched on in my latest pro wrestling bit in terms of why WWE should not bring CM Punk in, which has been something of a smoky rumor, because if they want an AEW free agent, some of these top guys are going to look at Phil Brooks in that locker room and say, hell no, I'm not going over there.
I just got a pro wrestling bits notification, so shout out to you, multitasking king.
Schedule posting,
So I think AEW should really rub salt in the wound and just make Colt Cabana AEW World Champion.
Let's go. I'm all
and
for
then
it.
have a segment where Nick Hausman is out there doing improv with Colt Cabana.
No.
We get the reunion.
Yeah, I mean, let's just do it right, But no, I mean, look, I don't know what CM Punk like. Who is holding the flame? To quote Cheap Trick. Who is out there being like, man, really hope Punk? I mean, I'm not seeing anyone being like, Miss CM Punk. Really would like to see him back.
He has his fan base, and in wrestling, everybody who can draw gets 9 lives, if that. I mean, I think Jeff Hardy is the darkest and worst example of that. But if you can draw money, any promotion will give you that many more chances. And again, Triple H's chief goal is to put AEW out to pasture, or to really just make them more diminished than ever. And I think he sees that as an opportunity to hurt AEW. And that's one of the positives of doing that, maybe. But I think wholly it would be a horrible idea.
I don't know. I think CM Punk should send a thank you note to Kanye West for overshadowing how much someone
making him the second biggest heel.
Yeah, I mean, Christ. CM Punk really burned goodwill with the wrestling community.
Yeah. I had a long conversation during my watch along tonight about this whole CM Punk situation, and a lot of people in the chat who are in fact fans of CM Punk expressed disappointment, which I always hate hearing that. I'm not mad at you, I'm disappointed, because I think that actually hurts more than being mad at someone. What a tragic story. I was actually rooting for CM Punk for this run to be something special, and if this is the end, it just feels like such a tragic story. But I can't overlook just how unprofessional the whole thing and how everything just went down, and that all-out press conference is just going to be something that it just puts a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. Except
And
for
it
the
was-
muffin. The muffin was delicious. Also, shout out to Larry because apparently Larry is okay, and the story about Larry was false.
Yeah, that
So
was
we're
weird.
happy
There's a
for
lot of
Larry.
weirdness going there. The CM Punk camp is, I don't know if TMZ is working in there, but somebody's coming up with all these storylines that have just been thrown at the wall and made to stick. And the story always seems to change from the CM Punk camp.
But
It's
Larry's
very
always
weird.
involved.
Yeah.
They blame the dog because the dog can't defend itself. It's like, oh no, Larry started talking that stuff. Larry took the first swing at Matt Jackson is what happened. That's what we're going to hear next. Is that Larry stole Matt Jackson.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it ain't good, man. It ain't good.
Poor Larry. Okay, well, CM Punk, we'll see what happens with him. Leading into SmackDown, there were rumors about Bray Wyatt, of course, naturally feuding with Roman Reigns in the Bloodline, but apparently coming out of the WWE camp. And this actually gives me a breath of fresh air, is that they said, where will we go from there? They're apparently down on the idea of a potential feud between Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns. I 100% agree. I think it sounds much better on paper than it would in real life. I need to see this Bray Wyatt thing kind of build up with somebody else before he gets to the title, because I think it could really sink a lot of ships in terms of Bray Wyatt, his history of kind of downplaying baby faces. So I'm glad. I hope they don't do anything with Roman Reigns until this is proven to be a success.
Do we know from the second taping tonight? Did they do the Bray Wyatt thing in the second SmackDown taping in front of an audience? Have we heard anything?
I don't know. I
Not
think it's
yet.
ongoing right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's probably still going on. I think this is going to happen regardless. I just hope it's not the first thing we throw at Bray Wyatt. I think Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns have such a history, and we didn't really touch base on it when Bray Wyatt was the Fiend, outside of Roman coming back, winning the title, from them. Bray and Roman never got back. And if you go back to their history, that Hell in a Cell match they had back in 2015, I believe it was, like Roman is one of those opponents in Bray's past that I would assume he has on his sights. I just hope it's not something that they do yet. But you had the number one heel and the number one babyface. It's bound to happen eventually. I just hope that we just wait it out.
Well, man, I don't know. We'll talk about it later. But look, I didn't watch SmackDown last week, but tonight, that Bray Wyatt promo, I felt like I could have been watching 2 weeks ago. Like, this felt very much like a repeat.
That's not very OC of you, Glenn. Not very OC.
It was like, you put them side by side on a screen, and I'm telling you, the problem with this the problem with this whole alternate reality game, puzzles, build, everything they've been doing, is you can only build so much, so you have to start paying it off. And we got a little bit of a payoff tonight, but Uncle Howdy, I'm sorry. I'm like, I had flashbacks. Remember those Duracell commercials with the Puttermans and the weird like rubber faced robot people? Like, I was getting vibes of that. I was like, oh, this may be, and I'm rooting for this Bray thing big time, but I was like, oh, this is maybe not the great payoff I was hoping for.
Okay, well, we're not at the payoff yet, to be fair to Bray Wyatt. I do agree it was absolutely repetitive. I kind of like that in terms of the pacing of this, because I feel like you do need to digest this slowly. I felt like that was a problem with the old Bray Wyatt, is that they tried to throw too much at you at the same time, and it became overwhelming to where it was harder to understand. Hopefully they're able to slowly roll this out, but hopefully they're actually able to roll it out, because I agree that it hasn't really moved at a very fast pace in terms of explaining why he's back and what's next. But I will say, as much as I kind of like the Uncle Howdy, it did kind of tick down toward campy. So I hope they don't keep getting campy with this thing.
And Uncle Howdy was the dude in the mask 2 weeks ago. It's the mask dude unmasked.
Yeah.
But the mask dude,
the
the man behind the mask, to quote Alice Cooper. But the problem is that, like, that makeup or whatever they were doing with that was just kind of like, ooh, okay, maybe. I mean, like, and look, here's the deal, man. Like, Huskus, Ramblin' Rabbit, Muscle Man, Bray, Fiend, everything else Bray Wyatt has done when they've revealed a new face of Bray or a new shade to this character, like, he has been on a roll. The last misstep when he almost wrestled his sister Abigail against Finn Balor before he had like the mumps or whatever, like 4 years ago. Like, that was the last, or 5 years ago. That was the last Bray Wyatt misstep. Everything else has been aces. And tonight, that makeup job was just kind of like, this is not as cool as everything that he's done in recent memory.
No, I disagree. We'll get into it.
Okay. I mean, because I could talk about this all night. This is like because this is the biggest story in all of wrestling. This in the Bloodline. It's certainly the biggest story in all of WWE. But Bray Wyatt.
What do you want? You want him to just like rush it?
No. Okay. two different things, and we should talk about this. Do we have any other news, Alfred?
No other news except 5-5. Phillies are rowing back.
Okay, here's the thing. So there's two things, Wendy.
Thanks,
One, there's the content of like where's the story's going and a payoff. And I'll give a pass on, okay, tonight we saw the face of Uncle Howdy, right? That was the big reveal. Bray came out and he cut a promo similar to the one he cut 2 weeks ago, but we saw the face of Uncle Howdy. So there's the content. I would have liked a little more on the content side and like explanation or payoff or just the next step, maybe who the opponent is, what's going on. But there's the content and then there's the presentation. So even if I set aside and say the content wasn't an issue for me, the presentation, as someone like I watched Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 4 last night, and I look at what The Fiend was, I look at just basic special effects, and that Uncle Howdy makeup was fucking whack. That was some
yeah.
whack shit.
It gave me Michael Myers in Halloween 5. I hated that mask. I hated that mask so much. It gave me those vibes.
Yeah. So even if we go look apart from the content, like that person, I mean, like The Fiend is badass. Like he did very campy, interesting things. Sean Ross Sapp mentioned that Uncle Howdy looks like Bray's Uncle Perry Wyndham, but I just want to call up the mask a second here and show just so everyone, because we kind of saw it in a fleeting fashion, but I think it's important just to look at this. And this is not the A+ Tom Savini special effects that we got previously.
You know, to be honest, from that angle, that actually looks kind of dope.
Yeah.
I don't remember looking at it because I remember looking prettier than that, but
when he was moving, it didn't look as good, and the mustache looked.
I think it's the hair. I think it's the hair that's bothering you because
it's kind of Mad Hatter vibes.
Yeah,
like a methed out Mad Hatter.
I don't know, man. This looks like your local haunted house more than like Hollywood special effects.
Heather in the chat says that's totally me without makeup.
I don't know. And part of it too, and here's the thing. He said, I'm even gonna give Bray a pass. This isn't Bray's fault. WWE should not be using like cable TV sports lighting. Like they should have done something a little more cinematic with this,
right. Because if you want to talk about presentation and waiting it out, we saw the Fiend flash in Firefly Funhouse segments for weeks. I mean, those segments went on forever, and you know that there was a demon that was like haunting him, but it was presented a lot different than what this is being presented with Bray doing the in-ring, promos. But it's giving me Firefly Funhouse vibes in how they're gonna take a while to pay this off. Yeah. Maybe not doing the same thing every week. I mean, the Firefly Funhouse episodes felt different every week, and I can see your point when it comes to the similarity between the promos. I still cannot be any more hooked to wanting to find out what it means and where it's all going.
It kind of is the same pacing as the last time around, because if you'll remember, they did weeks of build-up to the Firefly Funhouse even happening, where you'd see a different puppet every week. Then they slowly started rolling out those weekly segments, and I'll agree that they did seem very different every week for maybe the first month and a half, but they did have some sameness after that. But it was still kind of a slow rollout to even the Fiend. So this is nothing new for Bray Wyatt to slowly roll this stuff out.
Believe it was four Firefly Funhouse segments before we saw the first flash of the Fiend in that mask, and which was very quick before we started seeing more of him. All we were getting were the creepy "let me in" at the end, in the first couple of Firefly Funhouse. But you could tell that there was a lot of thought into those Firefly Funhouse segments and how they were going to present things. However, I do think it's just taking the same amount of time to get to the payoff.
Well, we had like months of build up to him showing up at Extreme Rules, and then the promos. What was his promo last week? I didn't watch SmackDown last week.
It was a backstage promo. He just had a backstage. Yeah, hold on. I want to see more of my face.
So I was thinking of the Primus video.
No.
The Primus video for Winona's Big Brown Beaver. And those Duracell commercials. I don't know. I just think, it just bummed me out.
I think it'll be fine. I think I'm still interested, and I want to see where they go with this. So it's got me locked in. He was very popular with the fans tonight. I think people continue to be interested in this. And as long as they're able to tell a story and they know where this is going, I'm all for it.
And if you looked at the QR code that flashed to the screen tonight, it led to a picture of him cutting that promo from a couple of weeks ago and the word liar like all over it. So is he playing with the fans at this point? Like this genuine Bray that we're getting, is that really who he is? What are we teasing here? I'm still into it, but I do understand the presentation might have not been up to standards based on what we got last time, but this doesn't feel like it's going to be so like horror movie style as it was last time too.
I mean, you got Uncle Howdy. I mean, of course, which makes you think of Captain Howdy from The Exorcist.
I love The Exorcist is my favorite horror movie of all time. So any Howdy references, I'm gonna be here for them.
Should we show Captain Howdy? Should we freak everyone out?
Yes.
It's almost Halloween.
Yes.
Yes, let's do it. Okay, so let me tell this story quickly. So I'm in bed one night at my wife's.
Where are we going with this?
No, I'm at my wife's apartment. Okay. So I'm in bed at my wife's apartment when we're dating. She's asleep, and I have trouble sleeping. We've established this. So I can't sleep, and I'm like reading about The Exorcist. I'm like, oh, The Exorcist, whatever. That ain't scary, And then it's talking about Reagan is haunted by the demon Pazuzu, who she calls Captain Howdy. So I'm sitting on the bed looking at my laptop, and I'm in the darkness. All I see in front of me is the screen of Wikipedia, and I open it up. And then I see staring at me when I click on the Captain Howdy link for The Exorcist. I see this face staring at me from Wikipedia in a dark room. It's like the demon is looking at me through the laptop, and I immediately shoved the laptop off the bed. I was like that freaked out by this.
Kind of looks like Danhausen.
It does kind of look like Danhausen. Yes, testosterone. Glenn is saying he's a demon in bed. It was my experience with the demon in bed, but not in a good way. And they only show that subliminally in The Exorcist. It's like just quick little frames.
Yeah, a couple of flashes. He flashes on the screen a couple of times. Yeah, but
Captain
there was
Howdy,
like
that shit's freakier than Uncle Howdy.
One of those original viral like jump scares was like a super calm video, and then at the end they will flash that image, like one of the original viral videos.
The car was driving with the family, and it was a peaceful drive. Yeah, I used to get people with that all the time.
Oh my god,
Captain Howdy is a legend. Come on.
Not like when I watched the movie Carrie for the first time, and I get to the end, and I'm just like on the edge of my bed watching it. My arms are dangling down over the bed, and then when the hand comes up from the grave, and again I was like, just freaking out.
Oh, Glenn.
You got to watch it, how you watch these movies. So let's jump into some super chats. Thank you everyone for tossing money at us. We will now dance for you. Breeze, Sheed Black, $9.99, brings CM Punk to WWE. I'm for it. Issa, BMMSM. I don't want to know what that means.
It stands for big, meaty men slapping meat.
Don't Google it. Alfred's mind's going to place. I'm about to smoke my cigar and listen to this podcast. YouTube has restrictions on super chats, by the way. Oh, YouTube.
What?
Interesting.
You don't want people to give us money? What?
Yeah, what kind of communism are we in?
Mia Lee, $4.99. Solo's a badass. His energy is just on a different level, and Jakara Jackson made her level up debut tonight. Y'all should check her out.
Sounds good.
Will do. Thank you, Mia. And I agree about Solo. He's just on a different level.
Absolutely.
He fits like a glove as we knew he would in the bloodline.
Streets champion.
McCloud, $2. It looks like Oz from World of Warcraft.
Oh, it kind of does look like. I was thinking Oz from WCW.
Oh, WCW.
Oh,
got it.
Play Oz?
Yeah. No, you're right. Here. Oh man. Wow. This actually really does look like Oz from WCW. Even down to the lighting. Wow. Let me find a good photo of this and open this up for the people. The people.
For the people.
For the people. That's what we do everything for on this podcast.
Find Master Blaster while you're at it.
Yes.
Quick update. It's still 5-5. Looks like we're going to extra innings. We're in the middle of the ninth.
There it is. Uncle Howdy, everybody.
Uncle Howdy. Look at him go.
And Sheed Black, $9.99 brings. Oh, no, wait. I read that one already. Sheed,
Wholly disagree, Sheed.
Different one? Was there a different Sheed? I apologize if there was another super chat. No, it was the same. Sheed gave the super chat twice. Wow. Thank you. So nice.
Big meaty man slapping meat. I'll say it twice just in case.
What?
Calvin R. Alexander give Jakara Jackson all the belts. Wow.
Look at Jakara Jackson. The streets are loving it.
I'm still pissed that Nikita Lyons got pinned.
Oh, man. We spoke out on your behalf, Glenn. We did you justice.
We did.
And the fake win. Protested. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Couldn't believe that.
Horrible.
So bad.
They screwed the pooch.
So let's talk about the opening to the show. The Usos were going to be all on the same page tonight. They had a discussion. They were all going to win the matches. The Brawling Brutes took on the Bloodline. They were going to win. But Jay, you lovable scamp, pulled Sammy out of the ring. They began to argue. Sikoa tried to separate them. Butch got the better of the situation, pinned Sami Zayn. Brawling Brutes getting that win. And they knew they were going to have to answer. The tribal chief, Roman Reigns, came out to chew out Jey Uso. And it looked like he was almost about to excommunicate him from the Bloodline. Sami Zayn intervened.
Lately, he just hasn't been very Usy.
And with that, we saw so many grown men barely hold their shit together in the ring. Just corpsing. Jey Uso, who's being yelled at, being threatened to be kicked out of his family, was laughing. Roman Reigns was laughing. Paul Heyman, like Solo, it was like the scene in Stand By Me. It's like somebody throws up, everybody starts throwing up. Somebody started laughing, everybody started laughing. Not since like an SNL sketch with Jimmy Fallon and what's his face.
Yeah.
Yes, have I seen this many people lose it? So the resolution that came from this was that he needs to get his oosiness back, or else Sami Zayn is going to change his name to Sammy Uso. I think Roman's going to replace him in the Uso. Sammy's going to be tag team champ with Jimmy if Jay does not get his oosiness back. Issa, what did you think of this segment?
First of all, the pop when Roman Reigns came out was absolutely incredible. The chance for Roman, even when they were getting into it and Jey Uso said, I don't give a damn what the tribal chief says, and you heard the entire crowd go like Roman Reigns. They have managed to build a star, which is something that WWE has failed to do for a long time. So I'm just happy to see that. I love how Jey Uso was like, I don't like your face, I don't like your hair, you're a fake ass Uso. I loved everything about this segment. Is there anybody in the planet cooler than Roman Reigns who breaks character and he still looks like the coolest, smoothest freaking thing happening in the ring? You could tell that Jey Uso just wanted to turn around because he could not hold it and Roman would not let him, which made the whole thing just so funny. This was A++. I loved everything about this segment. I loved the interaction between everyone. The show peaked too early, though. The show peaked too early. So
it has no choice but to with a segment this good. Very similar to the Honorary Oos segment, but this is just great television. They've just got all these pieces in place, and they all have chemistry with one another, which is so hard to do in wrestling as a stable. I feel like we see so many stables that they're just putting guys together, and it's supposed to get one guy over, but everybody's getting over in this stable. Like, everybody has these clearly defined roles. WWE likes to do all these sketches, and like we saw so many of them on Halloween Havoc that were really bad. I want to see a 5 to 10 minute sketch of character development with these characters. Absolutely, 100%. I think that would be very entertaining. But this continues to be very fire in terms of them opening these shows. And I love Roman Reigns had to stop in the middle of his promo because he started laughing. And then Jay was like covering his face. It was just so great. And such a funny line.
And Jimmy in the background was just straight up laughing.
Dying.
You could see like Jimmy just he wasn't even trying to hide it.
Yeah.
Like, and Paul like sent it to commercial. I would love to see the audience footage of when they could all just finally lose it.
Yeah, they just like fall on the ground. Somebody's got to have that tape. I want to see that.
God. I mean, like we need to petition WWE and Peacock to bring back Ride Along for one episode.
Yeah.
With at least Sammy and Roman.
No, the entire bloodline needs to be in it.
Yeah, they can rent a Suburban.
Oh my God. Like, this was so good. And this is the problem though. You know, when they do something that, I mean, look, and this is kind of what we talked about earlier. This is movement. Like, now there's an ultimatum that's happening, which makes the story way more interesting to see where we're going to go from here. But then the execution of this, the break, like, this was so much fun that it really did a disservice to everything that came after it. Like if Bray hadn't been back, this probably would have been the final segment of the show.
Yeah, but on TV you can only do so much in terms of surprising people and entertaining people. So you do want your best segments to be the first and last.
And one of the reasons why it was so good is because it was organically. Everybody broke character. It got funny. I don't think that they knew this is how it was going to be received by the crowd, by Roman, by everybody. I don't know. Sami Zayn is gold. We've established that. I remember seeing him walk backstage wearing the Bloodline t-shirt, thinking it was going to be just a week or two kind of gag for him to do after WrestleMania. And I should have known better because Sami just makes everything that they give him work. Not just work. Turns it into gold. And I bring back that Johnny Knoxville match at WrestleMania and how much I loved not just the match, the build up to the feud with him like releasing the phone number and Sami Zayn going to Johnny Knoxville's hometown. Like Sami Zayn is very good. But I would assume that you put this segment there because you think, hey, we're just going to have Roman Reigns show up, have a talking segment in the ring. It was probably that good because it went off the rails and that's what made it brilliant. And you can plan for that and where to put it on the show.
And I really did like how Jey Uso said, I don't give a damn about the tribal chief. And it did get that big gasp. And this made me think of this is something AEW needs to do better in terms of getting those reactions for fake, creative, made-up reasons rather than based on reality. Because to get a reaction like that in AEW, you have to mention somebody's real life or WWE or John Cena or something like that. But with WWE, I know you'll disagree with this, Issa, but Roman Reigns is not a real tribal chief. There was no real ceremony. Somebody in creative came up with that term, but they protected it so well. Issa will be back. I'm sorry, Issa, I expected it. They protected it so well and done such a good job building this gimmick up that when you say something like, I don't give a damn about the tribal chief, it gets a reaction from the crowd because they're connected to a gimmick.
Yeah, the reaction to the crowd is something that I really enjoyed about that because like I was saying, you build a star, it takes a long time, but that's how you know you're really working on it. You could just see everybody audibly gasp in the background, which I love. And to your point in regards to AEW, the only person that makes me feel something is MJF. Sure. When he cuts his promos, But a lot of the things that I was invested into SmackDown tonight, and maybe that is why sometimes the Dynamite watching experience isn't the same for me, were promos, character development, storylines. Like there was some good matches, but the two things that I wanted to talk about was Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns. These were in-ring promos. This wasn't wrestling. And I do think that Dynamite could use a little more of real storylines and developing these characters so that you can become invested. So when they come out, you don't go like, who is this? Or, oh yeah, he's still there, Yeah,
then they won't shoot on each other backstage.
So we had a video hyping the Viking Raiders and Sarah okay, so they just watched Yellow Jackets, right? And then
they had to.
This is so
yeah.
This is starting
it's
to bite.
It's the Antler Queen. Like that's what it is.
This shit's starting to bite so hard.
100%.
Like at first it was like, oh, this is kind of similar, and now it's just like this is just regurgitated word salad. Yeah. Like you're just coming up with stuff, I mean, come on,
They get Liv Morgan to play Misty Quigley.
Yes, they should. I mean, we had that pseudo crossover with Glow backstage that one time. Oh, I missed that show on Netflix. That show on Netflix was so good for like
Khan too soon.
Oh my god.
Awesome Khan should have won an Emmy for that. Did she?
No, she should have. And why isn't Kia getting more acting work?
She really should.
Yeah, she was a revelation in that show. Like her performance was so goddamn good.
Yeah.
Like I was disappointed a little when she came back to AEW because I was like, I really was hoping.
Oh, it definitely seemed beneath her. Not just coming to wrestling in general, but coming to the second wrestling company after what I think was an Emmy-worthy performance, and she's got it in her. I think if she lands the right role, she could win like Oscars.
No, I agree. She's retired from in-ring competition right now, but it was sort of quiet because it happened during the pandemic.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate. So the New Day versus Maximum Male Models.
Why?
I
don't know, but New Day won.
The Streets are saying New Day are going to be free agents in 2024. So if WWE wants to re-sign these guys, they better, come up with something.
Do you think this is a result of not only doing the New Day versus the Usos too much, but the tag team titles being tied up to these bloodline storylines where I don't feel like the Usos are going to drop these belts anytime soon, so you have to throw these tag teams in like these really random matches. Also, the New Day hasn't just felt the same since Big E's injuries.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So good seeing them back together at the Wakanda Forever premiere.
Yeah, they look great.
Sheed Black Buck 99 Super Chat. YouTube won't let you type out BMMSM.
Big meaty man slapping me.
Oh yeah, I get it. It probably censors that because Steve Marcochilli, Buck 99, Cargill versus Bianca will be money someday.
Totally agree, no matter where it happens. Hopefully in WWE. I mean, I want to see Jade Cargill in WWE. I think she just screams WWE.
Dream Mom Studio saying, I hope the crazy version of Liv pays off. I think Liv and Chucky should be together
I'm gonna
now.
be really
after her
honest.
appearance
I
on
thought they
Child's
were
Play.
gonna stop with Liv being dark after she got killed by Chucky.
Like Liv's just dead. Morgan's just not with us anymore.
Did they write her off? I'm glad they
That
didn't write
would-
her off this show.
That would be a hell of a way to like legitimately reboot a character.
Is it
You know,
words?
it's like the Miz got attacked by zombies and then the Miz just came back.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should have come back as zombie Miz.
I was gonna say, would you have rather have seen him in like a tattered suit?
Yeah, a zombie Miz would have been over as fuck. That would have been huge.
I think an NXT would have had a better chance. Zombie
Yeah.
Miz is easy to chant too, so he could have made it work.
I know. Kelly Braxton was backstage with Sonya Deville. Liv Morgan got into it with Sonya Deville. And we saw Braun Strowman hyping up his match with Elmos. We saw
I'm sorry,
Ronda Rousey.
that nose and that septum piercing do not go together.
Oh, with Braun.
It's very distracting. It doesn't fit right. I don't know what it is, but he needs to either take it off or I don't know.
I've never liked the note. You know what it reminds me of? Return of the Jedi, the Gamorrean guard in Jabba's palace. Like,
No,
with
it looks
the-
great on Bray.
Yeah, I was gonna
Braun's
say.
nose is too big.
Is it? I'm surprised they let Braun still have his now that Bray's back and he's got a piercing. I mean, Braun has been linked to Bray Wyatt's Wyatt 6 stable, so maybe that everybody has to get one.
Did you ever have like? I feel like people thought that was a thing, but I never had like a group of my friends who were at the mall. Like, hey, everybody, let's all get the same piercing.
Yeah, I never liked it.
Yeah, that'd be a weird montage. You know, do that. Go to the Orange Julius. Like we're all walking
Don't
around
get
thinking
drunk
we're
with
so
me, 'cause
cool.
that's my ideas at 2 a.m. We either get tattoos or piercings. Otherwise, you're not extreme enough.
Sheed Black saying $4.99 Alfred Red Lobster money. Get you some
Hell,
biscuits.
yes, my man. There's nothing. I'll spend it on. Here's what I'll do. I'll get the cheddar biscuits because those are fire, but then I'll take them to Applebee's.
Oh, there you go. Okay, let's talk about Ronda Rousey and her open challenge answered by Emma, who did not get completely destroyed in this match. Emma got some offense, and
Yeah.
I'm surprised Emma's back. You know, it's Tennille Dashwood. She had a really good run in Impact. Definitely made the most of her time out of WWE. I'm excited to see her back, but again, like they just have so many women they're already not really featuring on the show. Alfred, are you excited?
Oh, I'm gonna let Issa go first, but I don't know about being excited about this return. I like Emma. I remember how great she was in NXT, but between her being over in NXT, which most of the main roster people don't watch, and the fact that it's been so long since then, I don't think these people really knew who she was, and you can tell that pop was piped in. It's good to see her back. She's a good hand to have, but yes, this is becoming a problem in WWE in that we're getting too many returns and not enough follow-up. And there is a limited amount of TV time, even in WWE, and I just don't want them to find themselves in a situation where they brought all these people back, but they don't have anything for them.
Yeah, Issa.
Yeah, I guess there's two ways you can look at it. If you're positive, her coming back to get a title shot.
I think a different mic is picking you up, Issa. You sound very quiet now.
Hold on.
We'll figure this out. They used her last theme music, not the original Evil Emma music, which I always liked. Also, I missed the dancing.
Yeah, we didn't get Dancing Emma back. Maybe people would have gone crazy for that. But hopefully they recapture something because she is evil Emma. She's a heel version, but she's a hell of a worker. She's a good hand, very talented. But to your point, Glenn, they are bringing a lot of these people back, and it's particularly kind of hurting the women's division because naturally they don't get as much TV time. But I hear WWE is going to go all in with women in 2023. There's a lot of
really
maybe an Evolution 2, maybe a Mae Young Classic.
today there was some like people were tweeting about Evolution. It seemed more than normal today. A bit Issa.
I could see him doing it.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
We got you.
Okay.
So yes, Emma.
I was just going to say there's two ways you can look at it. If you're positive, hey, she got a title shot against Ronda Rousey in her return, which is a big deal. If you're not a positive person, she lost, and where do you go from here? I thought she looked great. I was never big on Emma personally, but I'm very happy for her. And to the people that were able to be surprised by this, good for you, because it was all over the internet. So it's very hard to have wrestling surprises nowadays anymore because everybody kind of knew about it.
Yeah. But you know, her and Dana Brooke's a face now though. But they should get back together.
Is she? I don't know what Dana Brooke is doing. Ever since Triple H came into town, that 24/7 title has gone invisible.
It was good when they were together. She was doing the "playtime is over" was her catchphrase. And the goddamn flip in Dana Brooke's entrance is still the most impressive thing I've ever seen in a wrestling entrance.
Yeah, does she still do it? I don't think she does it anymore.
I don't think she does it anymore. But I mean, like that, like, can you even figure out, like, could you do that, Alfred? I couldn't do that.
No.
Roman Reigns couldn't do that. Ricochet maybe could, but I don't think anyone else really could pull that off.
With enough training in ballet, I could probably pull it off.
Guess what? Roman Reigns doesn't need to do that because he has it. You don't have to do flips and all of that fancy shit when you look like Roman Reigns. You just have to stand there.
You don't got to do the splits when you've got it.
That would be a hell of that's a good t-shirt. That should be whoever's in a feud, against Ricochet. That should be LA Knight's thing. You don't have to do the splits when you've got it.
Yeah, you can add
So we then had Jay talking to Paul Heyman. We had Shayna congratulate Ronda Rousey on her win, and then Shayna beat up Natalia. See, there's these women's storylines, but I mean, I don't know when.
Do not underplay this moment because it was awesome.
Oh, her
beating up Natalia? Yes. First of all, why was Natalia there? Why was she talking? And how many times since you've been watching wrestling would you not want somebody to just put her to sleep as soon as she starts talking? It was great. It was great. And I've been dying for this pair up of Shayna and Ronda since they came to WWE. So I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yes, me too. Yeah. I think this is going to be the high point of Ronda's run thus far is her and Shayna. I think they're really going to build that up for WrestleMania, but I think they're going to make a good team too.
Sheed Black saying love AEW, but they need more storylines.
Agreed.
100%. They really do need to go back to start writing completely made up storylines that have nothing to do with their personal lives or who they're dating or where they came from. Give me a character and a storyline so I can get invested in that and so your wrestlers can't fight each other every week.
So, I feel bad about this.
Phillies just pulled ahead 6-5 over the Astros.
Yes, they did.
Hiro and Shinsuke versus Legado del Fantasma. I'm glad to see Hiro getting a win, but Legado just debuted, man. They shouldn't be losing this soon.
This is another thing.
Hiro did too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
what are we doing with Hiro and Legado? Do we need these two stables? Listen, I'm a fan of both. I love them in NXT, but this is another example of all these returns coming back. It's like, okay, great to see them back. Now where are we going with this? Are they just going to fight like this forever and be in this mid-card molasses?
Mid-card molasses. That's the name for a weekly show.
Yeah. It'll last 6 hours.
Or do a mid-card pay-per-view where it's just all feuds you're only mildly interested in.
I can get with it, but we got to get really into it. We got to get really excited about
they got to build it up.
Feuds.
They got to build it up like it's the biggest thing ever. So Paul Heyman, oh my God. This was the most Jewish content. I felt so seen by this. Paul Heyman talking about being at synagogue and running into his doctor who knew Logan Paul's doctor. Oh, this was great. But Logan Paul ain't winning a crown jewel. Stop pretending. You're insulting my intelligence by making it seem like this is even possibly going to be a thing.
He'll land that lucky punch and then he won't win.
Yeah, stop saying that. Could you, like, that's the shittiest way to pitch somebody. What if they get that lucky punch? Yeah, what if James Ellsworth had gotten that lucky punch? Like, that's not what you should be saying about your main event for your biggest payday pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah, the one thing I appreciated about this was Roman's attitude. Like, why are we watching this and what are you talking about? He was legitimately annoyed with Paul Heyman. But you have to make people think that Logan Paul has a shot here, and they're doing what they have to do. But
they're not when they say a lucky punch. It should be like, don't underestimate him. He's actually like a really credible fighter. He's had really good matches. Don't make it seem
like it's Logan Paul. It will be a lucky punch.
They're making it seem like it's like the guy throwing the free throw at halftime for a chance to win $10,000.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. I mean, this man doesn't even know what a what chant is and where it comes from.
But should they be building it up like that? I think is Glenn's point, which I do agree with. If you want to build a big match, I know it's Saudi Arabia and it's kind of this exhibition show that they throw away, but they have changed world titles at Saudi Arabia shows. And I'm not saying that it's very believable, but they kind of punted in terms of trying to make
Goldberg beat the Fiend. Okay, so no.
I'm not going to defend the world title. I'm just saying it could happen. So they could take advantage of the fact that it could happen and at least try to convince somebody that Logan Paul has more than a lucky shot of a chance.
Yes, and he does.
I didn't appreciate that.
He does. He's no offense to Bad Bunny, but Logan Paul.
Oh hell no! Hell no! Bye. Don't even.
No, because here's the one thing Logan Paul has on Bad Bunny. Logan Paul.
He doesn't have anything on Bad Bunny. Okay, the only thing he has on Bad Bunny is a tax break in Puerto Rico. That's the only thing he has on Bad Bunny. Okay, Glenn Rubin, don't go there. Don't go. Our friendship will be over.
If Logan Paul was a random dude and not Logan Paul, and you just saw him in a wrestling ring, he looks like somebody who would come out of the Performance Center.
First of all, he's from Cleveland, Ohio. Bad Bunny was born and raised in the streets of Vega Baja, Puerto Rico. If you see them fighting, Bad Bunny will take him. Trust me on that.
Who you got to fight, a Logan Paul or Bad Bunny, Glenn? Answer wisely.
It's a tough one.
If we're talking about a real fight, Logan Paul don't finish it.
Hey, Logan Paul does these celebrity fights. I think Bad Bunny should be an opponent of his. I'd pay for that on show.
I'm sorry, Bad Bunny's too busy like being the highest grossing concert going on right now.
And that's the thing. Apologies. I'm just saying, I would legitimately like
I don't understand why you have to bring Bad Bunny into this. Like, he's not even in the wrestling business.
I'm talking about non-wrestlers getting high-profile opportunities.
Okay, so talk about freaking Shaquille O'Neal's coming back, or Mike Tyson, or somebody like that. Okay.
You see, here's I bring up Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny, I think, is a contender. Bad Bunny and Logan Paul are the two best celebrity wrestlers of the last decade.
Right. The one thing is Bad Bunny does it for a hobby, and Logan Paul is actually taking himself seriously here.
But I don't think he's wrong to, because I think Bad Bunny could do this seriously as well if he wanted to.
That's okay.
Logan Paul looks
we like his music way too much. He don't need to leave us like
that. Sheet Black 999, Alfred, you're not from the South. Whoa, just awesome.
That is a fact.
You have to mix Golden Eagle syrup with butter and sop it up with buttermilk biscuits, screw molasses. Wow.
Yeah, that actually sounds Southern. I've never had molasses in my life, by the way.
Really?
Ever.
Oh.
I don't even know where I would get it.
Oh, you can get it anywhere. You can get. I mean, I use it for baking a lot. It's just a sweetener. It's like a really heavy, thick, syrupy.
Okay,
sweetener.
well, maybe something that I've eaten has had molasses in it.
It's like if it's like the healthier version of like using corn syrup in something.
I see.
But it's very heavy. It's good though. Like, yeah, I mean, it's very sweet. So let's talk about LA Knight and this promo, and he's gonna feud with poor Ricochet.
Yeah.
It's LA Knight's world. We're just living in it.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. F this guy. I've never liked him. Max Dupree was a better character. He has done nothing in his promos. Can he wrestle? Sure. Is he charismatic? Sure. I don't know who this character is. I don't give a damn who this character is. Like, the fact that they're switching back to this, like, this is like Mick Foley going back to Cactus Jack. Like, who, like, legitimately, if you give a shit about this, write me a 100-word essay explaining to me why you care and why I should care. about
And
LA
you cannot include the word "yeah" in the essay.
Yeah, and you can't just pad it with I care about this very, 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 very much.
99 times.
Yeah.
Use the chat, and the best answer will be posted on here for free.
Yes. It's. I mean, do you care, Alfred? Are you?
No, not in the
stoked about
slightest. I do like the guy in the ring and the talent, and I do
Not
think
about
he's
him
a
as a
good
person.
talent.
Not about him as a person.
No, obviously, yes. We're not talking about him personally. I'm just saying I like his talent and I like his talking, but the character that he portrays is just so Attitude Era-esque, and they're letting him do it here. Triple H seems to have taken a liking to this guy, but I just don't see it in terms of him going all the way on the main roster.
This is the most Impact Wrestling shit I have seen in WWE in quite some time. Issa, are you hyped for LA Knight?
No.
Who titillated your juices more, LA Knight or Maximum Male Model? Max Dupree.
No juices were titillated.
It's just a desert the whole time.
He doesn't make you feel.
It was a
oozy?
dry spell.
No oosiness.
No ooziness.
Dan saying I like him. I don't know why. Like that's
Yeah.
That's our leading candidate for the essay as to why LA Knight should be on television.
I don't know. I just kind of like him. Seems like a likable guy. He is like he makes Braun Breaker look like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Braun Breaker is Stone Cold Steve Austin. What are you talking about? Man, first you're going after Bad Buddy, now Braun Breaker. Don't go after my guy like that.
Braun Breaker's a great wrestler with a great look and a great heritage, but
1 year from now, he will be on the main roster as Rex Steiner in Triple H's WWE, and we'll all be going crazy for him. And I will pull up all these receipts like, oh, wasn't I saying this before anybody else?
Make LA Knight his manager.
Hey,
Done.
Yeah.
Solved.
Make Scott Steiner his manager and don't script him.
Butch.
I think Scott Steiner as Braun Breaker's manager, if they did it in NXT, I think it'd be the best thing in wrestling.
But I want to flash back to like 3 months ago when we got like the Maximum Male Models water promo. I mean, Maximum Models was like batshit crazy, but it worked. It was entertaining, and they just kind of dropped it. They dropped it before it got stale.
Right.
And now it's just like it's not even a thing. Like, yeah, it's very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. Speaking of gimmicks that are going nowhere, Madcap Moss took on Karrion Kross in a competitive match in the sense that Karrion Kross didn't just destroy him in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I've liked the entrances they're doing with Karrion Kross. I always thought that they'd look better in NXT because it's a smaller building, the way they do that entrance. But I really like how they produce it on TV. And it's a good package. They do a good job presenting them. But the match was whatever. And Madcap Moss, the guy's so talented, and they literally do nothing with him. They make him as generic as possible from his music to his gear. They don't tell you anything about him. Really, all they said about him, they're like, well, let's see if you can get over leaving Baron Corbin. It's like, that's your job. You were supposed to come up with some character that he's supposed to be leaving Baron Corbin. But I thought he looked good, and when he fired up, people got into it. But for the most part, it was kind of a mid-match.
Karrion Kross needs more good competition because the entrance is good. I mean, Karrion, the presentation is great. But yeah, it's like this doesn't do anyone any favors.
It's amazing how badass he looks when Drew McIntyre is halfway across the world being the first man, like the groomsman for Sheamus. So shout out to Sheamus. Congratulations to our boy. He got married. That looked like a fairy tale wedding. Good job.
Congratulations, Sheamus.
People in the chat pointing out LA Knight used to wrestle as Dick Rick. That is
another face of LA Knight. Or another part. May not be the face of LA Knight. That's what his name was.
That would actually be a solid gimmick if just every week he had a new gimmick. It was kind of like what we did.
Oh, I thought you were talking about.
No.
No.
We're going to let that die with he who must not be named, who is no longer in the wrestling community. But no, I think similar to the night when we kept doing the changing of names and gimmicks, that's what LA Knight's thing should be, that every week he's got like a dumb new gimmick until he finally gets the one that really sticks.
Isn't that like when Dolph Ziggler was coming out to people's entrances every week?
No. But he should like really put thought into it
I remember that.
as doing like a different fleshed out gimmick. He should flesh out Dick Rick, is what I'm saying.
That Dick Rick gimmick would be hard.
Literally.
I want to see that gimmick.
So and then we had Rey Mysterio get beat up by Gunther backstage.
Oh, this was so great. Anytime that Rey Mysterio gets beat up, and Angel gets his like I love it. Especially because Rey was like, I just want to say I'm enjoying being back on SmackDown, and Gunther was like, yeah, when you're enjoying this face in your face, like it was awesome. I fought for it.
No, it was fun. I like how he just got hit with a chair out of nowhere. This poor guy is just like talking about, oh, I'm so happy to be a bow. And then Gunther slapped the shit out of him.
Yo, you know, he was sitting on the ground looking at Gunther, knowing that I had to face him next week, saying, I should have just beaten my son's ass.
He pulls up with an injury next to him, like, oh, whoa, I got a pec injury. I'm not going to be able to.
He's going to go back to Raw crying because, like, Imperium bullying him or something, because, you know, he's soft.
Okay, wait, so, well, you know who's not soft? Dick Rick. Night one with in defense of LA Knight. Oh, and maybe his name even.
Good essay.
It's spelled different. His LA Knight's catchphrases are fun and ridiculous. Are you thinking, Alfred, what are some of those great LA Knight catchphrases that all the kids are saying at school?
No, I just go on Peacock and watch Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I get him there.
Yes. What are the streets saying? Issa, in Puerto Rico, you can't go anywhere without hearing people repeat LA Knight's catchphrases, which are so memorable. We're just thinking of dozens of them right now that we can repeat off the top of our heads.
He's got dummy. He's got yeah. What else? What's his catchphrase? Is the damn it on the tip of my tongue? It's that's the bottom. What is it? Come on, help me out here.
So Night One says the character's always been over the top to the point of being undeniably entertaining. Really? Because I don't think we're having trouble denying it. But I do acknowledge he doesn't appeal to everyone. I mean, like, I like shitty gimmicks. Sometimes I think shitty gimmicks, like wrestling needs shitty gimmicks. Shitty gimmicks can be awesome. But I mean, this is neither. Here's the thing. It's like music. Some music is really, really good. And you go, wow, that's really talented. That's really insightful. They really said something deep. And some music is like O-Town's Liquid Dreams, where you're like, this is a word that we don't say anymore, but you all know the word I'm thinking of. And that's how we describe it back in the year 2000, because we were less enlightened then and less sensitive to things. But if you have stuff that's really dumb and stuff that's really good, those are both entertaining. Everything in the middle is kind of meh. Like, I don't want to listen to that stuff. I don't want mid. I want horrible or I want brilliant. And sometimes it's a fine line between the two.
I do think he has a chance, though. I would completely agree that he's mid right now, but if he changes things up a little bit, he might have a chance. And whose game is it? That's the catchphrase I'm looking for. Whose game is it?
Whose game?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't really thought about this too much before, but now that I'm thinking about this, now I'm upset thinking about this, just to what a mid freaking gimmick this is.
They should put the world title on him. What if he beats Roman Reigns?
Please, Alfred, go away.
I'm being hypothetical. I'm saying.
Madcap Moss had stupid jokes, but at least I remember what Madcap Moss's gimmick is. Like, I knew
what is it, Glenn?
Like, he was the guy that has the like really dumb jokes. Like,
that was his old gimmick. What's his gimmick now?
Does he even have a gimmick now?
No,
exactly.
Not that I like that Madcap Moss gimmick. I thought it was horrible, but between these two, at least that was something. At least there was something that he could do to get heat, and there was a character that they were working with. This is much worse. It almost seems like they're going out of their way to make him as invisible as possible.
Yes, but if LA Knight's gimmick is like, I'm LA Knight and I'm the best, yeah. Whose game is it? Yeah, like that's like the creator wrestlers in WWE 2K22, the stock wrestlers with like the most generic shit is slightly better than what LA Knight is doing.
Man.
Yeah. LA Knight. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any saving this character?
I mean, I get that some people like this, but you're not. I mean, if you ask me right now to defend any wrestler I like, I could probably talk for like 3 podcasts worth about why I like that wrestler. There is no shortage. You I could ask you about any wrestler you like, you can go on and on and on. Alfred, you the same. But with LA Knight, I'm not seeing like Mojo Rawley. I could probably talk a good half hour on why I liked Mojo Rawley. But with LA Knight, I just don't get it, man.
So that's like 29 and a half minutes longer than I could talk about Mojo Rawley.
Shout out to Mojo.
Mojo Rawley made me aware.
Yeah, he's a man.
Mojo Rawley made me aware that Zubas are still a thing, and I bought a bunch of Zubas. I own 2 pairs of Zuba pants, 2 Zuba sweatshirts, 4 Zuba ties. That's right, Zubas makes ties for times when you want to be business, but also show people that you're just a wacky freaking asshole who loves professional wrestling and dumb things. You can advertise that with your Zuba ties, of which I own 4.
Damn.
Because I'm that guy. I don't get hype. I stay hype.
Hell yeah. Bring back Mojo.
Absolutely bring back Mojo. Mojo, like, but then they did the mirror thing. And I can even talk about that. I can talk about why the mirror thing is bad because I love Mojo, but the mirror thing with the blue marker, oh, that was bad. And that was bad in a way, though, that we could talk about at length. LA Knight, I got about, 90 seconds. And most of it is just going, what? What? Explain it to me. What's good about this? Give me a catchphrase. Yeah. I don't even know if that does he say that? For some reason, that just came in my mind. Like, and you know what's funny about this? There are people that listen to this are like, LA Knight's catchphrase is yeah, because you don't know, because he ain't got one. He said Alfred nodding along like, wait, is that his catchphrase? I don't want to sound dumb and be like, that's not his catchphrase because you don't know.
Yeah, he's trying with it. He's definitely trying to get it over.
Every time I see him, I say, yeah, out loud. I will say that.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
And again, in fairness, we're going to do what we always do in this. The blame is on WWE Creative, not on the entertainer themselves.
Yeah.
So Bray Wyatt, we talked about it before. Still got that new music. You like the music, Issa? You like that song?
I do.
I like it too.
I like it up until the piano and stuff starts coming in. That's when it starts to lose me. I think the build is good, but then it's just kind of like, this just doesn't feel like a wrestling theme to me.
I really wish they would make it available already on like Apple Music because I want to listen to it without the end. I just want to listen to the song on its own, but as of right now, I like it, and I liked his original entrance music. I like the Fiend's like hardcore metal remix to it, and I like this one. So, good job to Bray Wyatt to like changing his music and always making it work somehow.
And the crowd loves him. Alfred, were you excited? Were you on the edge of your seat tonight, waiting to see what Bray Wyatt was going to say?
Not necessarily the edge of my seat, but I was perked up waiting to see what he was going to say. And I did feel like I learned nothing. And I got mostly of what happened.
Nothing.
I got mostly of what's already been happening.
Wait, if people were now, people are going to harp on this podcast. Be like, well, Glenn, what the fuck hard on do you have against Eli Drake and LA Knight? You said this shit. But I just want to say that Alfred, about Bray Wyatt, where I had some valid criticisms about the presentation of that mask, Alfred was like, I learned nothing.
No, they're pacing stuff very slowly. And so they're essentially doing the same thing. He's just kind of talking about how he's happy to be back. This is me, I promise. And it did seem like he might have gotten lost in that. I think he wrote his notes on his hand, and because I saw him look down at his hand a couple of times with this promo. But I think that it's going somewhere, and I'm willing to wait this out. I believe in the talent of Bray Wyatt. I didn't think the Uncle Howdy mask was that bad. I do think it was a little on the campy side, but this is interesting. We're just going to have to wait and see. I don't think anybody came out of this like with a definitive answer of what this is going to be. I think they're keeping us in the dark.
Firefly Funhouse was so dope because we got so much different stuff. It did start repeating a bit after a while, but early on, we had so much different stuff. Bray Wyatt's weakness. Okay, let me just give you a real criticism here. Every iteration of Bray Wyatt, the weakness is it very quickly turns into word salad and just sort of like, we had artificial intelligence ingest his previous promos and spit out what a new promo should sound like. And I just worry about that tonight. There was a little bit of all shucks. I was waiting for the pivot. I was like, is he going to start telling us, I feel so positive and you too can work from home and be your own boss if you just get involved in my multi-level marketing scheme. I was waiting for like, what's the reveal going to be? And we got the cut to Uncle Howdy and that mask. And, it's just all.
Uncle Howdy, you thought you were done with me, but let me tell you, man who sold the world, yada yada, spooky. Happy Halloween, y'all.
Like, it was a bit anticlimactic.
Well, based on the QR code, I'm gonna let it play out, and I know those are forbidden words in wrestling, but the QR code just showing the world liar as he's cutting a heartfelt promo, to me, is Bray trying too hard to convey that he's been genuine and this is really him, and he's gonna swerve us. Is he trying to fool us? I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this, Ethan. You're doing all the QR codes. You're sending people around the interwebs. You've got.
I don't personally do them. I wait for somebody on Twitter to post it. I don't have time for that.
But here's the thing. Whose game is it? Yeah. No. Here's the thing. That you've got a national freaking TV show. You put your A+ material, like when The Office would do webisodes, those weren't the best episodes of The Office. Those weren't written by the writers. That was written by like the writer's assistant of The Office, and Steve Carell didn't show up in that shit. When you're doing online content, that's supplemental. Your best material should be on the main TV show that the most people watch. And then you could supplement that and flesh it out a bit. Flesh it out, Dick Rick style.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I like the flesh it out catchphrase though. That should be on t-shirts.
Yeah.
And condoms.
LA Knight should use that as his catchphrase.
Bray Wyatt. Let me just put him over there. Bray Wyatt, master of reinvention, getting people excited, interested, invested. They're taping another episode tonight. We got backstage stuff. The Fiend mask was there tonight. Maybe that's going to be featured in this other thing that they're taping. Like, I'm not done with this yet. I'm just saying they're starting to creep towards the dangers of the things that have sunk Bray in the past. And that worries me because, again, like this in the Bloodline, the honorary use, two best storylines in WWE in recent memory. I don't want either of them to screw up.
Right, and the honorary ooze hasn't really advanced, and it's still staying just as entertaining. It's just Sammy saying that Jay's not being oozy and Jay hating Sammy. That's what it's been for weeks. If you want to, compare it, they haven't done a payoff, and I don't think we're going to see a payoff for a little bit.
The Bloodline, okay, before Sami Zayn got in the picture, the Bloodline shit was getting stale, and I was like, when are they taking the title off Roman? Oh my god, like this is just, yeah. But come on, before the Sammy thing. This was run into the ground. So now, Sammy has caused everyone, and to an extent Solo, has caused everyone to step up their game. Like, you can tell that that's put a pep in everyone's step in the Bloodline.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. What I'm saying is that the Bloodline storyline hasn't advanced. It's just these characters are making it work, doing the same thing in a different variation of it every week.
Even the Uzi thing.
This Jay Uso, Sami Zayn thing has been going on for weeks. It's not the first time that Sami Zayn says the Uzi thing. It's just as funny every time. This time got people to break character. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love it. What I'm trying to say is it's the same energy. It's the same thing. Same presentation. Storyline not advancing. We're going to do the same thing, just slightly different, and people are going to love it. That's what they did with Bray. It worked with the Bloodline tonight. So
let's talk about AEW, which was live tonight.
It was?
All right, that's it for me tonight. Have a good night.
They took away our number one complaint, which is that a pre-taped AEW Rampage is often predictable and lackluster. And instead, we got a live show opening with Jon Moxley versus Matt Menard in an AEW World Championship Eliminator match. Alfred, were you rooting for Matt Menard?
I was. I think Matt Menard is criminally underrated, but you do matches like this, there's no way he's winning it. And such is the bane of Rampage's existence. I can tell you exactly what the result of every match is going to be. And at the end, I'm asking myself, what did this accomplish? And how has this advanced anybody's storylines?
And why is your world champion fighting every week, even on your B plus show? Like,
Well, I mean, we do have some
But they
people
do
that are
need
out
that.
right now. You know.
Yeah, and they do need to, if they want Rampage to be a show that anybody gives a shit about, they need to start putting bigger stars on there, but in meaningful matches.
Why? When you're seeing the same people that you're seeing on Wednesday.
Yeah, it could be different stars. It could be whatever they decide to do. It should be big stars, but they should advance storylines. And to your point, if they want to do it with different people, they should. We already know Jon Moxley's storyline from
You have
Dynamite. So on
100,000
Rampage, it should be
titles
somebody
on that
else.
show. 100,000 titles on that show. Why are we seeing the world when he just had a match?
They got
on
way
Wednesday?
more than 100,000 titles. You're a little behind.
Yeah, I'm sure. I might just miscount it.
Shout out to Mauricio Laos. Dick Rick should be on Raw. I
Damn.
agree. I agree.
Whose game is
It
it?
was a good match.
Yeah.
It was a good match, though.
Yeah, it was good. It was fine.
And Stokely Hathaway was out there confronting Moxley after.
I thought he was fired.
That was good. And we're gonna get Lee Moriarty versus Moxley on
He got
Wednesday.
fired at the end of Dynamite. Why is he here?
MJF's going to be a heel, by the way.
Yeah, I hope so. Like,
This
turning
is
his
all
face would
part
be a
of the plan.
mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
This
all everyone's talking about this week, though. Oh, MJF face.
He's going to be. This reminds me of when The Rock went babyface, where he was just getting so popular. So he went babyface for about a couple of months just to placate the fans, but then he joined the corporation, and he was a heel for like another year or so after that, and a great heel before finally going face. So I think MJF still has a lot of heel juice, and this is all part of his plan.
Okay, so Jade Cargill could give LA Knight a lesson or two in promos because Jade Cargill was doing pull-ups and addressing Nyla Rose and cutting a promo. That was pretty good.
We saw a couple of
Great.
multitasking promos tonight. That Karrion Kross cutting a promo while he had the cross jacket on.
This was good.
What would Dick Rick be doing while he was cutting a promo?
Fleshing it out. I mean, say what you will. You know, that I'm not even going to say it. Never mind.
No, come on, man. We're
You
gonna
have
do
to.
it.
Now. You have
We're not advancing this podcast until you finish that time.
No.
I mean, say what you will about the substance of the promo, but it'd be long and it'd be girthy.
Didn't that feel good?
Keith Lee versus Serpentico. Keith Lee won.
Of course.
Good.
But oh my God, Billy Gunn's missing. Swerve, like this is just like some shit out of Saw. Swerve has him tied up and like damages his scissoring hand.
It was very weird what went on here, but I liked it. I like that Keith Lee was obviously not aware that this was happening and maybe not on board. They kind of teased that. I was laughing at the Acclaim saying, "We're his family, we're his family." Then why weren't you with him when he got kidnapped by Swerve? Like, where were you, right? And then later on commentary, like literally in the next segment, Jim Ross says, "Yeah, Keith Lee wasn't a part of him. I talked to him about it." And I'm like, when he was walking backstage? Like, when did this happen? But yeah, they're really building up this rubber match between these two teams.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I like it. I know people were up in arms that FTR lost or whatnot. They can get it too. And I think that Swerve in Your Glory and the Acclaimed have had two very, very excellent matches. And I think this rubber match is going to be heated.
Damaged his scissoring hand.
That's horrible. That's heel right there. That's a heel move.
Do they bring him left-handed scissors? Because they do make those.
They'll have him back and we have to use like safety scissors, like the kind you used to cut cardboard with. Yeah.
Will he ever scissor again?
It's tough. Maybe emotionally it'll be too difficult for him.
It'll be triggering the scissor.
Yes.
Rhea Ripley triggers my scissors.
Tonight's the night where I really hope talent is not listening to this podcast.
Particularly LA Knight. He'll pull up on you if he hears this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like, Glenn's right there. He's in Vegas. Go get him, Dick.
Again, this has nothing to do with him as a person. This is creative
knock on your door and flesh it out, baby.
No. You keep that same energy.
I'm gonna get voicemail tomorrow morning being like, whose game is it? Yeah. I don't know why.
I have no
with the
problem
hands,
with Rhea
like he's-
Ripley finding out, though.
Like he's Poochie. Like, yeah. Madison
Yeah.
Rain versus Tay Mello.
Why?
Decent length match in the usual slot.
It was fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Tony Giovanni called it a great match. Too many greats.
Justified, this is awesome shit.
Yeah. Justified. Keep watching Rampage on TNT.
Live. Did I mention this show is live?
Unlike this tweet, did I mention this is live?
It was a great match.
Ethan Page was backstage with Lexi Nair asking about the firm's attack on MJF. MJF changed, man.
Cap.
Totally cap.
That
That
man's
means
gonna be
live.
heel, and I can't wait.
Wardlow versus Matt Taven for the TNT Championship. Looking at this promo, look, I think Matt Taven's talented. I'm glad to see Mike and Maria in AEW. But like, if you were sitting there thinking like, okay, it's been a good night of wrestling. The Oos thing was good. You know, that Glenn Rubenstein tweeted a really good deep fake with the I Love Oosie with Sami Zayn as Lucille Ball. And you were thinking, what a night for wrestling.
Yes.
Roman Reigns is Ricky Ricardo, who I was like, yeah, thinking like I'm like, damn, Roman looks nice in that suit with that haircut.
Paul Heyman is Fred Mertz.
Yes. Oh my God. Oh yeah, I could do that. I should totally do that. That's good. That's really good. I'll have to do that later tonight when we get done with this. But so if you're sitting there watching Matt Taven's promo and you're like, I think I could safely turn Rampage off. I think I know who's winning this match for the TNT Championship. You were correct.
I mean, you knew before the promo, though.
I knew when the match was announced.
Yeah.
But this is tough though, right? Because like they're trying to make Taven and Mike and Maria feel like their presence is a big deal. But why not have
because
them
I don't know if you heard JR on commentary, but when they showed Mike Bennett, he said, "Oh, it must be bring your husband to work day."
Do you think like Vince McMahon just cooked this guy and like he's never recovered from the Mike and Maria Kanellis angle?
I think he has if he goes to AEW because he still does have street cred on the indies as Mike Bennett, so that's going to get him something. But
It's
to a
a
crowd like
mistake.
this, they don't really remember a Mike Bennett or really care much about ROH because they haven't given him a reason to. They're just more belts that they can add.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it felt like Groundhog Day because after this, they did this 2 weeks ago. Like I took last week off. I don't know what happened last week, but after Wardlow won, then Samoa Joe runs out again. Like it's the exact same shit that they did 2 weeks ago.
Wardlow, you have to put him over.
That's
But-
all this stable is one guy saving the other.
I actually
Same ending.
Matt Taven in this match. I thought he looked great against
Me too.
I thought it was awesome.
Matt
And if
Taven
you're
can
familiar
wrestle.
with his work. He put himself on the map.
Matt
I
Taven
felt
can
like-
absolutely go.
I felt like his promo was very good. He showed a lot of charisma. I thought he floated out there. He was very fleet of foot. I know this guy's a talent. It's just how are they going to capitalize on this talent, which they have not answered with a lot of people. But I'm watching this Matt Taven just go in there with Wardlow, and I thought he had a very good match.
And then Powerhouse Hobbs music hit. He came to the ring. Gates of Agony attacked.
Yeah, who hasn't been seen in weeks, and even commentary had to say, who does he have his sights on? Because they didn't even know why they put Powerhouse Hobbs in this spot. He looked great, by the way, but it was just funny that they didn't even know because he hasn't been a part of a program or on TV since I thought the whole Ricky Starks thing. That's the last thing I remember Powerhouse Hobbs doing that was significant. So,
They
and of
couldn't
course,
remember.
the show, and the show ends with a big clusterfuck and everybody just becoming
Which is what
involved
they
and
did
jumping
2
in
weeks
the ring.
ago. Exactly.
Yeah,
what
that's
they
how
did
it
2 weeks
always
ago.
ends. So would you rather end with Captain Howdy's mask or this?
Oh, that's a tough one. No, I think they should have ended with this screenshot.
AEW
That is
contest.
gold. That is gold.
I mean, Daddy Ass's scissoring hand could be permanently damaged. He might never scissor again.
Gosh.
That's a tragedy.
I hope
I mean,
he gets
honestly,
a lot of fan mail.
that would have been this segment ending would have had like this would have been more of a WTF than the Uncle Howdy thing if they'd ended with this segment and really just presented it with this scene and this screaming right at the end.
It would have been the greatest ending of 2022. And I love how AEW has so many titles that they had to go off the air teasing 2 title programs at the same time. Like next week, it's going to be like 5 people in the ring with a belt. Like, I'm going to win this belt. No, I'm going to win this belt. No, I'm going to win this belt.
Jax Callen's 420. Hey, Jax, here's some Greens cheers in 420. I get it.
Yeah, Jax.
I get it. Good to see you, buddy. Whose game is it, though? Much like the eternal question of who's the boss. Whose game is it? Yeah.
It's Dick Rick's game.
Dick Rick.
Dick Rick forever.
See, now you guys got me hyped. I want to see this return. Screw all these. Triple H needs to start letting people bring back their old gimmicks from the indies.
And you know what you'd say to the end of his promo? He'd be like, Dick Rick's coming for you.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, we got to do this. It's got to happen. We got to get this trending.
This is why I'm pissed. He is talented. LA Knight is very talented. And this is what they're giving him.
Yeah.
Yes. So good to see you all. I've missed doing this on a regular basis. We did Halloween Havoc. It was out Tuesday. We're back tonight. But this, there was some good stuff. The oosiness. Like that, just so much joy in that Bloodline promo.
It was great.
Excellent.
Really good. So Halloween, Monday Night Raw on Halloween.
Yeah. Roman Reigns is going to be there. Brock Lesnar's going to be there. And the Halloween trick or treat match will be between Otis and Matt Riddle.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, the trick or treat fight.
It's going to be a late entry for match of the year. I'm calling it right now.
Okay. Well, Issa, do you have any big plans for Halloween weekend?
No.
Alfred, do you have any big plans for Halloween weekend?
Not particularly, no. I'll be out
we're so boring.
tonight. Yeah.
You're not going to go as Dick Rick for Halloween?
I might now. That was Magnum Rick.
You'll be tag teaming with the Black Fiend in the Firefly Trap House.
Yeah,
that'll be the opening scene. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming out, everyone. Issa said NYC Demon Diva. Alfred said this is nasty. I'm Eklund. Rubenstein. Have a great weekend. And this weekend, ask yourself, whose game is it? Yeah. Have an Usi weekend, everyone. Happy Halloween.